Another Frankenstein project. Made it up as I went along. Michelle here, also known as Fancy Dinosaur Tea Party, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be teaching you how to make a rose granny square. So I wasn't really going to make this video until I was ready to make like the full cardigan, because yes, I'm going to be making a full cardigan of these squares. But I had posted a test square on my Instagram saying like, this is my next project, and I've had a few people reach out to me asking me, how did I make this? Is there going to be a tutorial? That's why I'm just going to be making this particular video on just making the granny square. Just a very simple crochet video just about this rose granny square. Not going to be doing anything else but the granny square. That is it. I've never made a video like this. It's usually me showing you how to make the granny square and then taking those squares and making something out of it. But this, I guess, is going to be part one of like the two-part video, because making these squares, it's probably the more complicated. It's not even that complicated, I have to say. This square compared to the, I'll put here, sunflower granny square, I don't think it's any more complicated than that. I think it's just that there's three different components into making the square. The square is actually going to be this one. Here, it's a very tiny one. I don't think this is any bigger than the squares that I used for my black and white checkerboard cardigan I made like a month ago. I had to kind of make it up. I watched probably even more than 10 videos on how to make this type of granny square, and none of them gave me what I was actually looking for. Some of them would give me the rose design that I liked, but the petals and the border I didn't like. Or another one would be like the rose part I didn't like, but I liked the petals. Another Frankenstein project. Made it up as I went along. I actually followed a tutorial on how to get like the rose part, and of course I'm going to show you all the steps. What was really tricky is that a lot of the roses that you see on YouTube, they have 8 petals, and I just didn't want to do 8 petals because that's a little bit more work than I wanted to do, but also I didn't want to have big squares. I wanted to have like, you know, just like nice little ones like this. Basically all the tutorials wanted you to have 8 petals, and you might not think that was like a big deal. Oh, like, you know, I'm just cutting it down to 6. But when it came to adding the leaf part, that's where it tripped me up a bit. They were calculating you putting the leaves around 8 petals, and I was putting it around 6 petals. So that's where my problem started. I must have taken apart this square numerous times to finally get it right. This is what it looks like from the back. I know you're supposed to hide your ends, but doing my test trials on these, neatness goes out the window. So I'm going to do 6 petals on the rose, and then I'm going to be doing 8 little leaves, so 1 in each corner, and then I'm going to be showing you how to make the little border. All the yarn is medium 4 weight, and I will be using a 5mm crochet hook, US H8, just letting you know that. I think that's really it for introducing what I'm using for this project. I know a lot of other crochet videos out there just start right with the crochet. It's me, and I like to start off letting you know what I'm using, what I'm doing, and what it's gonna look like. I guess without further ado, it's time to get right into making this granny square. For this project, I'm going to be using red for the rose, green for the stems, and pink for the border. I'm also going to be using a 5mm crochet hook, also US H, and of course a pair of scissors. And this is the rose that I'm going to be making. This is the back side. I know I need to, you know, tie in these loose ends. This is what the front side looks like. It's going to be 6 petals, and then it's going to be 4 little bunches of leaves, and then of course the border. So I'm going to take my crochet hook and I'm going to put it underneath the bottom loop. So this line here is the top and this one here is the bottom. So I'm just going to put my hook underneath like this. Then I'm going to rotate it. So I'm rotating it, and I'm going to grab the top loop and pull it through, and then just twist. And then I'm going to take the top loop again and then pull through. 6 single crochets, go through the loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. Now I just need to make 5 more. So that's insert into the magic loop, loop over, pull through, loop over, pull through 2, and I just gotta do that 4 more times. So now that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I'm going to take the tail end of my magic loop and I'm going to pull it closed. Then I'm going to slip stitch into the very first stitch that I had made. What I'm going to do now is, you see how there's 6 single crochets? What's going to make the petals of the middle of this rose is going to be 2. Stitch 1 and stitch 2, that's going to make 1 petal. Stitch 3, stitch 4, that's going to be the 2nd petal. And then stitch 5 and stitch 6, that is going to be the 3rd petal before we move on to the next row. All right, so you see how there is a V shape right here? Like this is the top. This is the back. You can tell the back because that's where the loose thread is. When you're going through this, you're only going to go through the top loop, okay? So you're not going to go through both, and you're not going to go through the back. You're just going to go through the top one. This is very important because when we work on the next set of petals, you're gonna need these back loops to make them. So if you cover them up and use them inside these petals, it's gonna be a challenge for you and you're gonna have to start over. So that is why I am just letting you know what you should be doing. To start the petal, I'm gonna do a single crochet. So insert my hook again into only the top loop, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. The next crochet is going to be a half double. So that is yarn over, insert into that same stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through all 3. And now again in that same loop, I'm going to be doing a double crochet. So that is a yarn over, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. That is the first half of your petal. Now I'm gonna move on to the next stitch. So there's this one here, and now to finish the petal, I'm gonna move on into this stitch here. I'm gonna do a half double in this one. I'm gonna yarn over, insert my hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 3. Then I'm going to do a single crochet. Let's insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. And now I'm going to do a slip stitch, which is just insert your hook, yarn over, and then pull through everything. That is your very first petal. Now you just have to do that 2 more times. So you have to make a petal into these 2 stitches and then a petal into these 2 stitches. I made this little diagram so that way you can screenshot it if you need to. In case you're having trouble figuring out where the stitches go, I thought this drawing can help you out. That's the first petal, that's the second petal, and that's the third petal. Again, we start off with a single crochet, a half double crochet, and then a double crochet. First half of the second petal is done. Moving on to the next little stitch there. So we're doing a half double, then a single, then a slip stitch. All right, and then one more time. All right, and that is your middle of the flower. I'm gonna turn my flower over. So this is the front, this is the back, back again is where the tail is. So you see all these little stitches here? These are the back stitches that I told you not to do. They're gonna come into play. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go locate the first stitch, which sometimes is hard to see, and sometimes I just make up where the stitch is, but you know. So I'm gonna find the first stitch, insert my hook. I'm going to do a single crochet, so that's yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and then I'm going to chain 1. With this process, instead of having 6 chains around, you're gonna have 12. Now you're gonna find your next chain, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, chain 1. Just a single crochet, a chain, single crochet, chain, until you have 12. And this is what it looks like from the back. I'm going to do the exact same method that I did to make these petals through these in the back, but instead of doing it 3 times, I'm going to be doing it 6 times. So you're gonna find your first chain, you're gonna insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, and that's a single, the half double, the double, and now I'm going to move on to the next one. And once again, I'm only going to be using the top stitches on this side, not the back stitches, because the back stitches you're going to need for the petals. So finding my next stitch, we're going in through the front one here. The front one basically just means facing the front of your work. This is the front of your work, and this is like, you know, the back of your work. Half double, gonna do my single, gonna do my slip stitch. Okay, so that's 1, back petal, and now I need to do this 5 more times. And when you get to the end, you're just going to do a slip stitch just like you would after finishing the petal. Cut your working yarn, yarn over, pull through, pull tightly. All right, and this is the rose. To make a slip knot, I'm going to take the tail end, hold that with my right hand, with my left hand. I'm going to spin it, and I'm just going to stick my fingers through so I can hold on to the tail end, still keeping the tail end pinched between my fingers, and then I'm just going to pull. And then insert the hook, pull tightly. Now remember when I told you to leave the back loops free and don't like work in them? This is why, because now you can see them very clearly. I made the mistake of working with the back ones, and then when it came to this part, I knew I messed up, so I had to restart. Now for the petals, you're only going to be making like 4 little patches. Let me just bring this here so you can see. So if I just flip this around to the back so you can kind of see what I'm talking about, you're going to be making 2 leaves, and they're going to be in 1 stitch. You're going to find a stitch, any stitch really. I usually just start anywhere, and you're going to be working this way. So I'm going to insert my hook, I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going to do a slip stitch. So that's yarning over and then pulling through everything. And now I'm going to chain 3. So that's 1, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, and that's 3. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a cluster of double crochets. That's yarn over, insert into the same stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, 2, and I'm stopping there. You see how that's looking? And I'm going to do that 1 more time. So that's a yarn over, insert into the same stitch, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, 2. This petal is going to look different than the other petals because I chained 3, and that is to make the height of the petal. This chain 3 will count as a double crochet. So you're only going to do it until you have 3 little loops. The rest of them will be 4 loops, but we will get to that. Now I'm going to yarn over and pull through everything, and now I'm going to chain 3. So that is 1, 2, 3. Now, in that exact same stitch down here, I'm going to do the exact same steps. So I'm going to yarn over, insert my hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, 2. Now I'm going to do it 2 more times. So that's yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, 2. And see how we have the 3 loops still on my crochet hook? I'm going to do this 1 more time. Yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, 2. Now you can see that I have the 4 loops on my crochet hook. I'm going to yarn over, and I'm going to pull through all of them. So we got 1/4 of the petals done. Now I'm going to chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and what this chain here is going to be the gap in between these 2, so that way when you're doing your border, you'll be able to have a space to make your border. Right where I am right now, this is that chain of 3 before we start the next little cluster of petals here. Now to do the next petals, I want to count 3 loops, okay? 1, 2, 3. This one here is when I'm going to do the next cluster of leaves. So I'm going to yarn over, count 1, 2, 3, insert my hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through, 2. Gonna do this 2 more times in the same one. Yarn over, pull through everything, chain 3. So this chain of 3 that I just did right here is literally just this right here, okay? It's just that chain so that way the corner can go. So all the chains of 3 that I'm doing on this is so that way when you work on your border, it's all the little spots where you connect your border. Now I'm gonna make the second leaf to this little corner here, into that exact same stitch there. Yarn over, pull through, chain 3. And again, I'm going to yarn over and I'm going to count 3 stitches. 1, 2, 3. Insert my hook. And then I'm going to make the next group of petals. 3, yarn over. All right, and I'm going to count to 3 again. So that's 1, 2, 3, making the last corner of petals. When you're done your last corner of petals, I'm going to chain 3 again. And then I'm going to insert my hook into the very first leaf that we made, yarn over, pull through, a little slip stitch there, yarn over, pull through, pull tightly. Personally, I like how the leaves go diagonal from each other, but if you want them to go parallel to each other, then it just all depends on where you put your corners. Because I want mine to be diagonal, I put my corners in between the two petals. How I made the two petals in a stitch, that's where I put my corner. But if you want your square to look like this shape, then I would put your corner in the gap right here in between the two clusters of leaves instead of where I put it. So it's just, again, it's all preference. I'm gonna show you the way that I make mine. I'm gonna start off with the slip knot, insert my hook, pull through. Now, if you've watched my other tutorials on me making granny squares, this step is the same as all the rest of them. It's just a very simple border and it's all double crochet. I'm gonna find one of my clusters. When I mean clusters, I just mean like the two leaves in the same stitch. I'm gonna insert my hook, gonna yarn over, and then I'm gonna do a slip stitch. I'm gonna chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm gonna do 2 more double crochets into this corner. So that's yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. This is 1/2 of your corner, and what I like to do is I like to do half my corner now, work my way all the way around, and then go back into the same space here and finish the corner. I think it just looks a lot nicer. We will come back to that. In this space right here, I'm gonna do 3 double crochets. So that's yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Also, what I am doing is, you see how I have this tail end of the green? Kind of incorporating that so it's not hanging out when I'm done. So I'm just kind of laying it over that chain of 3 while I'm doing my double crochet. Yarn over, insert, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. All right, one more time. You can kind of see how the border's coming across. The next one, again, in between the 2 leaves that are in the same stitch, I'm going to be doing a corner. And I'm going to do 3 double crochets first. Again, put that little tail in there. Now I'm going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3. Like that's this little part right here. Then I'm going to do 3 more double crochets back into that same spot. It's going to be a corner, flat part, corner, flat part, corner, flat part, corner, flat part. So now that I've went all the way around, I am back to the beginning. So now I'm gonna do 3 double crochets in the same spot that I started. All right, and now I'm gonna chain 3. So this is that chain 3 that I started with. I'm gonna skip this little stitch here and I'm gonna go into this one right here. Just insert, yarn over, pull through, so that's a slip stitch. Cut my working yarn, yarn over, pull through tightly. That is how I make my rose-colored granny square. This is part 1 of a 2-part project. Eventually I'm gonna take all these and make it into a cardigan. What's gonna end up happening is I'm going to kind of do it like a rose, a plain granny square, and then a rose, but that's gonna happen in the next few months. You know, once I make 50 of these, and then like 50 of those. If you are new to my channel and you like sewing, crafting, crocheting, and thrifting, why not subscribe? You can also follow me on my Instagram, which is Fancy Dinosaur Tea Party. I think that is it, so y'all have a good day now.